Bitch, you flop with your bitch ass. I ain't letting you slide, and they better not get into the fuck you old ass bitch. You one in my antique closet, nigga. Fuck you. You thought you was gonna count me out too. Nigga, you a hoe. Nah, quit, Offset. Oh my God, I ain't gonna respond to none of them bitch ass nigga no more. Tell them niggas fuck with me. Fuck all them bitch ass.
Within 48 hours, NBA Youngboy went at Future on Instagram, sat down on Offset's live and apologized publicly, retracted that apology the same afternoon, tagged Future directly with personal insults, and dropped a diss track timed in the middle of Jay-Z's show at Yankee Stadium. Future said nothing. Not a post, not a story, not a word. That contrast, Youngboy moving at full emotional speed while Future operated in complete silence, is what has the culture locked in on this situation. And it is more complicated than it looks on the surface. Let's lay it all out. NBA Youngboy, born Kentrell Deshaun Gaulden in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, built one of the most devoted fan bases in modern rap without traditional industry support. No massive radio push, no major label machinery driving him early, just relentless volume and a raw emotional transparency that connected with millions of people who felt like he was speaking directly to their lives. By his mid-20s, he had more than 100 entries on the Billboard Hot 100, making him one of the most charted rappers in history. His fan base is not casual. They are personally invested in Kentrell as a human being, which means every conflict he enters becomes a cultural event immediately. Future, born Navadius Wilburn in Atlanta, did not just make music. He invented a sound. The melodic, auto-tune-drenched trap energy that defined the 2010s traces its DNA directly back to him. DS2, Dirty Sprite 2, Beast Mode. By 2024, back-to-back #1 Billboard 200, debuts with Metro Boomin on We Don't Trust You and We Still Don't Trust You confirmed him as one of the most dominant forces the genre has ever produced. He also built free bands into a legitimate label operation, with real artists and real loyalty, including an artist named Doughboy whose name would become part of this story. When Youngboy sent a message directed at Atlanta alongside his diss track, people understood immediately. He was not just talking to one man. He was poking an entire institution. What makes this feud particularly interesting is that these two were not enemies. They were collaborators. Youngboy appeared on Future's album High Off Life, on the track Trillionaire, as recently as 2020. Before that, they had connected on Youngboy's record Right or Wrong. There was no documented falling out, no public incident anyone could point to. By all outward appearances, they had simply drifted in different directions the way 1,000 collaborations in hip-hop eventually do. But Youngboy had clearly been carrying something. In February 2026, the first signal surfaced. Youngboy posted on X inviting any rapper his fans believed was the best to a song-for-song battle. Loser never raps again. When a fan in the replies suggested Future could compete with him in that format, Youngboy's response was brief and dismissive. He told the fan they smoked more dope than he did and kept it moving. It was a small moment. Fans noticed it and filed it away. Then July arrived, and Future announced The Real Me, his 10th solo studio album, 22 tracks, no features, his first true solo full-length since I Never Liked You in 2022. He described it on X as the album of the century. The anticipation was real. And on the night of July 9th, the night before it officially dropped, Youngboy logged onto his Instagram story and turned the internet upside down. He posted a rant directed at a rapper releasing music that night. He never said Future's name. He did not need to. There was exactly one major artist dropping an album that night, and the entire culture understood who he was talking about. The energy behind what Youngboy said was not playful trash talk. He sounded genuinely agitated, like something had been sitting inside him for a long time, and this album drop had finally given it somewhere to land. Hip-hop media picked it up within minutes. Every platform started running the clip. The culture shifted into full observation mode. What happened next genuinely surprised people who know Youngboy's reputation. Offset stepped in. The former Migos member and one of Atlanta's most respected figures caught Youngboy during what appeared to be an Instagram live conversation, and did what older brothers in the culture do. He talked to him directly. He told him to focus on his family and the bigger picture. And Youngboy actually listened. He opened up and acknowledged that something had genuinely hurt him emotionally in the lead-up to all of this. He said he had been crashing out. He admitted that something had gotten under his skin, and he had let it take over. He thanked Offset directly, and then, On camera with Offset present as a witness, he apologized to Future. He said it clearly. He had flashed out for a brief moment and he was moving past it. The culture exhaled. The beef appeared to be dead in under 24 hours. Then, within hours of that apology, on the same day, Youngboy was back on Instagram with Future's name tagged directly in the post. The tone was nothing like the live. He called him a bitch. He accused him of flopping. He referenced Future trying to purchase something from his antique closet, a specific detail nobody could fully decode, but that clearly carried personal weight for Kentrell. He said Future was old. He said he was not letting him slide. The accountability he had just demonstrated on camera evaporated in real time. That reversal became the defining moment of the entire story. Not the original rant, not the apology. The fact that the apology lasted less than an afternoon. The same man who had just sat on camera and acknowledged his own emotional pattern immediately repeated it. That cycle, escalation, clarity, reversal, re-escalation, is well-established territory for anyone who has followed Youngboy closely. But watching it complete itself this fast, in real time, in front of millions of people, was something else entirely. Then the diss track dropped. What arrived on July 11, 2026, timed during Jay-Z's historic concert at Yankee Stadium when the culture's attention was pointed somewhere else. Whether that timing was calculated or simply a product of Youngboy's impulse-first approach to releasing music is debatable. What was not debatable was what was on it. Youngboy went directly at Future's credibility in the streets. Lines about catching him bad and stretching him, references to having younger people around who would handle problems for free, the kind of language that in Youngboy's delivery does not get processed as purely metaphorical. He also sent a direct message to Atlanta in the record, which in the context of everything surrounding both men, meant something specific. The beef then extended to free bands. After the record dropped, Youngboy left a comment directed at Doughboy, one of Future's free band's artists, that was as direct as anything he had posted all week. Doughboy responded publicly and said that if Youngboy wanted to bump, they could bump. Youngboy accepted. That exchange moved the situation into different territory. This was no longer just two rappers exchanging takes online. To fully understand what Atlanta represents in Youngboy's mind here, you have to go back to November 2020 and to King Von. Von was Lil Durk's closest friend and one of the most promising young rappers in the country when he was shot and killed outside an Atlanta hookah lounge following a confrontation with associates of Quando Rondo. Quando Rondo is closely aligned with Youngboy. That connection placed Youngboy's camp at the center of one of the most painful moments in recent hip-hop history and ignited a feud with Lil Durk and OTF that never fully healed. Future and Lil Durk run in overlapping circles. They share Atlanta, they share industry relationships, they share mutual associations built across years of operating in the same city. When Youngboy looks at Future, he is not looking at a random rap competitor from Atlanta. He is looking at someone embedded in the same network as people he has unresolved and deeply personal history with. Youngboy himself confirmed that the problem with Future goes beyond music. During his venting, he said Future does things behind the scenes that he cannot respect. He never spelled out exactly what those things are. That deliberate ambiguity, real enough to feel genuine, vague enough to keep everyone speculating, has been the engine driving the conversation for weeks. Future's response to all of this was to release the real me and say absolutely nothing publicly. Not a post, not a story, not a cryptic lyric, not a side comment in any interview. He let 22 tracks speak while Youngboy spoke at maximum volume about him. There are two ways to read that silence. One is that Future's legacy, 10 solo studio albums, a Billboard record, a label operation, a sound that defined a generation, is secure enough that engaging with someone clearly in an emotional spiral would only diminish him. The other is that Future is calculating something, and that his next move will say more than any Instagram story ever could. Both readings are plausible. Neither has been confirmed. And that uncertainty is exactly why this situation has not resolved itself. Youngboy is 26, Future is 42. That gap is not just age, it is two completely different philosophies about what a rapper owes his audience. Youngboy's entire brand is unfiltered access in real time. Future built his legacy on mystique and restraint. Those two things are almost incompatible, and this feud puts that tension on full display in a way that neither man had to articulate directly. What we know for certain, a diss track exists, a free bands artist has publicly challenged Youngboy, Youngboy accepted, the apology lasted less than a day, and Future has not said a single word. What happens next is still being written. But in hip-hop, the situations that tend to get most dangerous are not the ones that announce themselves loudly from the start. They are the ones where one man keeps talking and the other one never says a word. What do you think Future's silence means? Drop your take in the comments. Subscribe for every update as this develops.